what is up? Okay, so this is entry number 1 in my video diary. I am doing this because I'm turning 40 in like 6 months. I know, shocker. I don't look like an almost 40-year-old, but it's true. I was born February 4th, 1981, so next year I will be 40. And with that, like I want to be lean. And so I told that to my coach. I said, hey, just a heads up, in the next 6 months, this is kind of what I'm looking for. And he's like, well, how lean do you want to get? Because I've been to a point where I've been shredded, which was closer to what I look like for the stage, which I don't want to really get that lean because that is super temporary, but I want to get more lean than I did for my photo shoot in January of 2019. Like, I want to get to a point where I'm like, hey, there's all that muscle that I've put on in these past 5 years, because my goal for the past 5 years has been lean muscle gains. Actually, it's been growing a baby and then lean muscle gains, right? Like, so I really want to see where I am after so many years of hard work in the gym and eating the right things. And one of my best friend pointed out to me, she said, okay, so when people call you a hypocrite, because listen, getting shredded is not the epitome of health. Abs are not the epitome of health. More likely, if I were just to get leaned out, like photo shoot, that's more health than it is to get shredded. And I said, well, here's what I know. Here's what I hope you know is, one, I am not one to back away from struggle. I've been trying to create way more self-awareness. I have been creating much more self-awareness in my life. And what I've noticed is that time after time after time, I willingly go into very tough situations, not having the tools, but developing along the way. And so like, that's what I think about this next opportunity is, hey, look, I'm going to get to this place. It's going to be really hard. And I'm going to utilize some of the things that I've learned in the past 5 years and see where I can go from there. So back in 2015, my relationship with food was not so great. My coach at the time convinced me that I should start eating carbs. And I was like, but no, Lindsay, carbs make me fat. And she's like, Sarah, please just trust me. You want carbs. And my body changed like super quick, and everything was so much better after I fell in love with carbs. But then I also had a really unhealthy relationship, and my relationship with food didn't heal well until 2017. But it didn't improve. I still had after 10 years and all the diets that I've done and everything, like it took a while to repair that relationship. Now I'm super solid. Like I posted the other day, I had s'mores for dinner when we were in North Carolina tent camping, because that's what we had. And I seriously, no shame, no nothing, like super, like it is what it is. I honestly have food freedom, dietary freedom. That's why I'd like talking about it a lot. Okay, so then the other thing I had was I was majorly obsessed with training, to the point where it's like, I would say, oh, it's, people are making fun of me because it's not an obsession. It's just like, it's a lifestyle. Well, no, I was working out, and I'm not a professional athlete. I wasn't training for anything other than just training. I was working out anywhere between 12 and 15 hours a week. And the bad part about it is that I was not sleeping well, and I couldn't figure out why. It was because I was under recovering like over and over and over again. And so those two things I had really poor relationships with. And now, like, I miss a workout if my body's not feeling it. My intensity in my workouts have backed out greatly. But I'm consistent with my workouts, and I love to train, and I don't train because I have to. I train because I get to. And like, there's just so many, I've improved so much of my mindset and the way I attack things. Like, I'd really like to see how I can do better. And I'm not saying I'm going to compete. I'm not throwing my hat into the ring, but I'm in the masters, like, age range. And so I'm like, oh, that sounds pretty cool. Instead of competing against like these 18-year-olds and like these 20-year-olds, like I'm more with mature women. Not saying like maturity level, but just older. just what I'm going to call this is more mature. So I'm not saying I'm going to compete, but like, I'm like, well, whatever. And then the other thing is that I wanted to point out, so that's the big thing is I like, I'm about to start 75 hard round 2. I've done 75 hard phase 1 and phase 2. And for those who don't know that, what it is it's legit a mental toughness challenge. And like, it's something that I openly walk into. I openly walk into stressful situations, tough situations, because I'm like, all right, let's grow. Like, let's do this. Like it is the friction. I'm a little cuckoo, but that's what I do. And I'm not saying that I do it, just so you know, I don't do it without self-doubt. I don't do it without fear. I have all these things that I struggle with that I can like work on. And so like, I've learned to push myself out of the way. I've learned to tell fear to freaking shut up, sit down, like get off the bus. So like, there's all these things that I'm working on that I know I can only work on if I'm in the storm, right? I can only know how strong my anchor is if I'm going through a storm. Okay. So there's that. The second thing is if I get to a point where I'm like, this is too much for what I have going on, I'm pulling the plug. There's just no skirting around that. I'm okay with pulling the plug. I'm not saying that I'm going to be like I won't consider myself a failure. That is something that I'm knowingly walking into. Like if my business is suffering, if my relationship with my husband is suffering, if my relationship with my kids, if anything that I hold my core values personally, if those start suffering to the point where like I don't want to do, like I'm pulling the plug, and not a big deal. The other thing was, what was it? It was something that was really important. Oh yeah, the other thing is you honestly don't know where your like middle, like my husband and I were talking about this, we're such nerds, but you don't know where your balancing point is. And I was talking to Jordan Syatt and Jason Phillips just the other day, and I loved how Jordan said it. He said, you don't know where your balance is until you can figure out what your extremes are, right? So my husband was like, oh, that's stoichiometry. Like, so in a car engine, like your he said stoichiometry, I believe, is your middle point where your car, like where your engine isn't running too rich, it's not running too lean, and it's just enough performance. It's what the wear and tear on your engine's minimized. It's this middle point. But you can run your gas or whatever it is like super rich, and you're going to get better performance out of your car. Excuse me, you're going to get less performance out of your car, but you're going to get more longevity out of your engine. Or you could run it super lean. I think he was talking about some sort of flashpoint, and I could have these totally opposite, but your engine can burn out. So yeah, that's what it is. Lean, your engine can burn out. So like you have to figure out where your two extremes are to get this like mid-range. And so that's the same thing. I've been in this like, and this is what I like about nutritional periodization is like you get into these different phases. Like off season is where you get to like kind of like live in this life of not indulgence, but you get to like kind of step back a little bit. Like you get to relax a little bit. You get to enjoy more foods that you normally didn't get to. And like when you're in season, like especially like, and I call it in season, like weight loss, like fat loss phase, you have to tighten your reins. You do have to restrict. Now it's not like this dieting restriction where you can't eat all these foods, but you have to restrict your calories in order to see some fat loss. And so like with that, like your energy goes down a little bit, like you're hungrier, you can be more moody. Again, there's changes in your biofeedback. Your sleep can be, disturbed. Whereas when you're in this like maintenance phase, it feels good. Like I'm in maintenance right now and I am sleeping like a baby. It is ridiculous how good I'm sleeping, and my stress is minimized. Like it's just all these wonderful things and these different phases. And so I like to figure out like these two extremes. So that way when I'm in this like balance, like, like when, I say I'm in maintenance, I'm kind of in surplus maintenance because I've been trying to gain weight, but like, so I got to figure out where this balance is. And what Jordan said is it's like, this balance kind of bounces around. Like, it's not like, oh, this extreme and this extreme, and so this is my balance. Like, I don't want to go out. It doesn't. It's like, it kind of moves with you, and it kind of goes with whatever you're doing. So I kind of want to find that new balance, what that feels like. So I want to go through those two extremes to get there. And then honestly, I was the healthiest I've ever been in my 30s. And I just want to see where I'm at. See, like, I want to just flex my everything in my power to see where I can get. And I like challenges. And so that's just where I'm going to go. And so in the next 6 months, I would really like to get shredded. And so I'm going to keep a diary, and I promise they won't be 10 minutes every single time, but maybe it will be, because, I'm just talking to you. Oh, there's one last thing. Stick around, because what you're going to see, this experience that I'm going through. And once I get to this leanness, you're going to see that it is massively temporary. And when you look at social media and people's pictures, especially with some of these Fitspo girls, like these really like fitness chicks, these fitness athletes, these, they appear to be super lean, like all year round. One, that's probably not true. Two, you don't see what they're going through on the backside. You don't see what their health looks like. They're not showing you their blood work. And then, so I'd really like to be open and transparent, which I typically like to do anyways. So that's why I'm going to document this. But again, it could be where I pull the plug and you don't get to see super shredded Sarah, but you get to see why the plug got pulled. And, I just like, if you met me in real life, you'd see exactly the person that you see right now on the screen. And so, maybe not makeup on, because I put makeup on. You can't even tell. Like, it's because of these bags under my eyes. I always try to get them away, but it's like permanent baggage. Thank you, age. So anyways, that's why I'm doing these video diaries. I hope you enjoyed this. Will you let me know you're along for the ride? Just like comment and let me know what you think. Not just, just in general. So I'll talk to you soon. Thanks for listening. Bye guys.